Hi everyone. Hello, welcome to the classroom at Vladem Contemporary and to the second window box program of the calendar year. I'm so glad that you all are here. And I am, who am I? I'm the Associate Curator of Art and Special Projects. My name is Katie Doyle. I manage the window box and I work with just an incredible amount of emerging artists every year, Marianne being one of them. And you know, we'll stop talking about me though, because we're really here to talk about Marianne and her work. So Albuquerque-based artist Marianne Hall explores themes of personal loss and spirituality through this very contemplative visual language. Shaped by an interest in alternative materials, introspection, and domestic craft, Hall's practice was founded in the cities of Detroit and Toronto, and then it brought her to New Mexico in 2011 with a sensitivity to thread, texture, and fiber-based materials. Hall's meditative installation between heaven and earth offers the opportunity to interpret land and loss into abstract forms, reflecting on the complexities of human mourning and healing. And we are absolutely thrilled to have been and to continue to be hosting her work here at the Window Box, where it will continue to be on view until July 5th, 2026. So there are lots of opportunities to spend time with the work after this program this evening as well. Marianne?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. So, where do people go when they die? That's what my granddaughter asked me after her uncle's funeral. And I said, I think they go up into a pink cloud to visit their friends and family. What did I know? And years later, that thought returned to me after my partner Roy was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. During that difficult time, we learned about the Bardo, the Tibetan belief in a transitional space between death and reincarnation. To me, it was the pink cloud that I once imagined, and that idea brought both of us comfort during our final year together. From that experience, the seed for my piece between heaven and earth began to take shape. My name is Marianne Hall, and I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. I lived most of my life there, did a stint in Toronto, and I moved to New Mexico in 2011, first settling in Mountain Air before moving to Albuquerque the following year. I'm the eldest of 5 children, born to first-generation American parents. My father's family came from the Ukraine, and my mother's from Lithuania. I grew up in a middle-class family. My father was a truck salesman, and my mother was a homemaker. From an early age, though, making things came naturally to me, and it was something I was consistently encouraged and recognized for. I was fortunate to grow up with a strong public art education and near remarkable creative institutions like Cranbrook Academy of Art and what was then the Center for Creative Studies in Detroit. Being surrounded by that creative energy shaped my sense of what art could be and what a life in art might look like. I earned my BFA in fibers from Wayne State University in Detroit. When I worked a day job, it's been in the field of interior design. I've also been a home renovator and a DIYer for most of my life. I have a special interest in the built environment and how things are put together. I've been fortunate to travel quite a bit, and as a fiber artist, especially one with a background in paper making, I became drawn to Japanese and Korean papers. Over the years, I built a substantial collection of them, and by 2018, that collection had grown so large that the paper began to lose some of its preciousness. I finally felt free enough to work on it directly, staining, marking with sumi ink, and ink I make myself from walnuts. On the left is an example of a stitched collage inspired by a Japanese zatkin, or dust cloth made from scraps of fabric. And on the right, a series with this paper mounted over vintage mining maps. And here's the table full of those marked papers. And in marking them, because the paper is so resilient, I treat them like fabric, using the technique of batik marking them with beeswax before dyeing them with the walnut dye.
Wow.
And these are an example of some fiber sculptures I made inspired by my maternal grandparents, who were a fashion designer and a tailor. The use of black felt came from a memory of black coating fabric I inherited from my grandfather. These are small Anna and the tailor on the left. The top piece is 5 by 5 by 4 inches, and the cloud-like piece on the right, titled Nimbus, is 10 inches by 12 inches. And this is a variation on that theme, a series of pillow-like forms using collected ephemera such as vintage tape measures, vintage sequins from France, coconut shell beads, silk, and bark cloth from Tonga, things I've collected. They're 6 by 6 by 3 inches deep. And here's a close-up of one of the poofs and a glimpse of my work table. And here's the work in my studio, and I also work with wire. In the past few years, I began to take my work off the wall, and here I'm using balloons filled with expanding foam insulation. These egg-like forms were tied onto copper chain I make myself. The cord is vintage button thread. The titles of these pieces are from the left. Breathe in, the weight of it, and delicate balance. The work most often reveals its meaning to me after it's made. And it was during this time that I was grieving the death of my partner. To me, this work is both weighted and light at the same time as I work to recover from my loss. Always hopeful. And as I was aware of the delicate, fragile, and impermanent nature of the balloons, I looked for a more archival material that also added value. I landed on 2 materials, borosilicate glass, which I don't show here, and porcelain slip. My choice of materials reflect both fragility and resilience. These pieces are, from left to right, the object of desire, the weight of longing, and everything she touches, made of porcelain, gold metal leaf, and powdered graphite, attached to copper chain. These and several others are currently in a mixed media exhibit at the State Capitol Rotunda Gallery titled Intersection, Color, and Form until December 18th. Plenty of time to see that one. And here they're in a show last summer at Exhibit 208 in Albuquerque. And you see some of the glass pieces in these views. And now back to the main event. This is the drawing I made when I first entertained the idea of an installation relating to the pink cloud. I'm going in and out. As I considered its title back then, the pink cloud was where we go, and the black mound was soft landing, and the grid in the back was to be a grid of torn, woven sheets, way to escape. I was in the throes of grief. Then I made some models to build it in They Will Come style. I had an idea of a room I'd like to see it in, but also imagined a larger museum setting. Then along came an opportunity to build a small installation in Magdalena for their public art project called Cruising Maine, which consists of 2 street-side raised boxes that are lit at night. This project is headed up by artist Judy Richardson in Magdalena, and Judy's here tonight. Thank you, Judy, for coming up. And so is Catherine DiMaria, who also sponsors the second box. So this became an opportunity to build out this idea on a slightly larger scale. On the left is the installation built in my studio, and on the right is the piece installed in the box. On the drive west towards Magdalena, I was treated to a show of virga, rain that evaporates before it touches the ground. It was then I began to consider the grounded in New Mexico features of this piece. And then next are a series of images and short videos that show how I made the piece, and I'll answer questions about them after my presentation. So this is, the first slides are underpainting the panels that surround the piece, and the reason I do this is that a suggestion of the landscape peeks through the gold leaf squares. And here is the gold, I'm applying the gold leaf over a thin coat of water-based gold leaf size that acts as the glue. And this is the technique I use to apply the gold leaf using waxed paper. And the use of gold can symbolize the presence of God, divine wisdom, or spiritual transcendence. And I'm just removing the excess. And burnishing the panels. And if my math is right, I used over 1,000 sheets of gold leaf for this project. This is polyester and nylon woven organza. I chose this for its strength and reflective quality. And here I am sewing the edges to stabilize them and prevent them from fraying. Here I'm sewing copper wire on the edges to stabilize the cloud forms. I use about 500 feet of copper wire and work about 20 needles. And here I am untangling miles of thread. I think I've used almost 6,000 yards or 3 miles of thread in this project. And here I'm attaching ribbons of felt together to form a lava bed. And here I'm arm knitting the lengths of felt to contrast the cloud forms. And this became the center of the lava form that's in the window. And here's the piece installed in my studio at the Harvard Art Center in Albuquerque. And the window around the corner from us, the evening view. And an image of a sunrise Virga I had taken many years ago. This view is from El Dorado. During a recent artist talk, someone asked the question, how has living in New Mexico influenced my art? And at that moment, it was before I made this piece, I really couldn't think of an answer, but now I see the hanging sculpture as a reference to Ristras, and the pink clouds were originally made with the same technique as the flounces on flamenco dresses. And of course, the reference in this piece to the awe of our high desert landscape, Virga, ancient lava flows, and sunsets. And finally, the sunset from Lava Hada Hill late last summer, which was validation I was on the right track with this piece. And I want to take this opportunity, hopefully I don't cry, because there's so many people that are so important to this. I want to thank everyone here at the New Mexico Museum of Art, Vladem Contemporary, who made this piece possible. Its window box benefactors and all my friends who helped support and guide me, many of them here tonight, as I work through the technical aspects of this piece, and especially my Sherpas, you know who you are, who helped get this piece up to Santa Fe, and to Katie Doyle, who held my hand throughout this process. Thank you, Katie.
So we're gonna do a little Q&A. I have some questions for you.
Great.
You know, because I've been very privileged to work with you through this process and spend a lot of time in your studio, but really, you know, we've talked more about this work than we have about all the work.
Yes.
So I feel like there's a really rich opportunity to connect some dots. So I have a few questions, and then we can take questions from you all if you have them. So I guess the first thing that struck me about what you were talking about was this the felt. You know, I think felt is a very it's a very charged material art historically, but you kind of relate it to family, and then that sort of transitions in this piece especially to earth. So when did this connection of felt and family happen, and then when did that sort of develop into a relationship to land for you?
I'm going to try to make the transition quick, slow. Yeah, well, originally it started out as I was researching my heritage, and my grandfather, who I actually never knew, was a tailor, and the only thing I had left of his was a very long length of coating fabric, and still I have not looked at it in a while, but it's in a box in my attic. And to me it was made of felt. It wasn't, but to me it was made of felt. And so I started working with the black felt, and the first things that I made of it were like that nimbus or that cloud-like figure. So that's very odd that now it represents the earth, but it was originally a cloud. And then it became the mound that I call soft landing, and because to me it was like a pillow at the time. But as I showed the piece to people who came to my studio and visits, everybody was making a connection to the earth, and especially lava flows. And it made so much sense to me, especially in this piece, because you can't get any deeper in the earth than a lava flow. So, and then, you know, the way I work with it, and having visited the lava flows, seeing how they're folded, it just made a lot of sense. It's the meaning is getting deeper and deeper, and even when you called it felt, there's like that, you know, I feel it. So that's part of my practice too.
And I think also, just this is like an incomplete thought, but in thinking about, you know, lava and how these rock formations arrived, and just this explosion of like ancient geologic activity, the stuff that goes on under our feet, and then the things that become almost frozen in time, and how that sort of relates to this process of grief and healing and trauma,
Transformation.
Yeah. There's some juice there.
There is.
For chewing on.
I agree.
Can you chew on juice? So, and then we also talked about just now with the feeling of felt. Everybody, I feel like a lot of people know that feeling. It's probably like one of the first fabrics a lot of us get to know, from like the felt board when you're in kindergarten all the way up to, you know, your winter coat that protects you from the elements. But talk a little bit, you know, about the evidence of memory and the importance of old things in your work. You know, you talked about your dad's practice as a tailor, and the coat fabric that you were drawn to, and you know, but you also said the word vintage a few times too, as opposed to like found or reclaimed, or, you know, I feel like in this interesting like age of plastic that we're living in, that you are gravitating toward these older things that imply, like vintage implies use, it implies love, right? I guess, why is it important to you that the objects that you're using are repurposed or vintage?
Yeah, I wish I can give you lots of reasons why I like them. And we talked a little bit about, I have a background in energy healing, so I feel into my materials, and the vintage materials have so much appeal to me. They have history, they have previous use, they have texture. Yeah, I'm just very much drawn to that, and not at all the things that are plastic.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like the rest of it's kind of toxic, and the vintage items are loved and felt, and yeah.
Yeah, and when you say like texture, do you mean like the literal, like the feeling of something, or the feeling that it gives you when you are interacting with the material?
It's visual texture, you know,
Yeah.
and
The-
feeling texture, yeah. Yeah.
Emotional texture.
Yeah, I just have to say this weird thing is when I'm going like this, when I was a little girl, this is horrible because I think it was a bad thing, but we used to have those chenille bedspreads, and I would pick the, pick the chenille and self-soothe with it,
Mhm.
so yeah.
I mean, there's a piece in that.
Yeah.
Get you a chenille bedspread.
Oh
and start
God, I got in so much
taking it
trouble.
apart.
they were picked bare in my house.
Reclaim that from your childhood.
Mhm.
So, again, like with this, I feel like we're doing a lot of this up here because we both really like touching things.
Yeah.
So, talk a little bit, like explain, you know, the importance of the hand too. You're very attached to like making it all, like doing it all yourself. You talk about making the sumi ink, the chain,
right?
yes. That like you could go to the hardware store and buy a chain, but no, you want to like make and do the labor of connecting these pieces. Why is that important to you?
Well, first I want to say I do buy a chain, but then I paint it.
We alter the
Yeah, I have to
bought
alter.
material.
Yeah, I have to alter it. But I was talking to my sister about this, and she said because nobody does it better. You know, if I imagine something, I can't imagine. If I find the right person to help, you know, that would be great. But I made my top tonight. You know, I dyed my little thing to match my outfit. You know, it's like I seem to have to do everything myself. And in terms of the chain came first. I was just making chain. I made miles of chain, not knowing what I was going to use it for, and then ended up to be the chain for these pieces. And I had so much of it that I felt like I could use it. But then there was somebody that encouraged me to outsource the chain, and I did find some very rustic handmade chain that I use for the glass baubles because it seems to contrast better with it. But yeah, I like to make I would have woven that fabric if I knew how.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thought occurred to me to make the piece out of silk, and then I would dye the silk myself. And in this case, this fabric really was the best choice for it.
The reflective quality.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yes, I do everything myself.
Well, and one last thing that I didn't pre-prepare.
Oh, great.
Oh,
A
no.
surprise question.
Yeah, surprise question for you. Because you said it again about miles of chain, miles of thread, the quantity of like gold leaf, the number of needles that were spent in that sewing machine, and also the quantity of copper wire. That distance seems to be playing a role also, maybe
Yeah.
in the material for this work. But maybe I'm just picking up on something really wacky.
It was
but-
a last minute trivia question that I
Yeah.
researched.
Yeah. But I think
Yeah.
there's something
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
something
'cause
there.
I'm not a math person, but yeah. Oh, I've come a long way, you know, physically from where I'm from,
Mhm.
and I have traveled quite a bit, and life is long, and luckily.
Yeah. Well, and also to be blessed with something like a view of Virga, you have to be
traveling.
Far away.
Yeah, far away, far away.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's my last prepared question. Now we're gonna turn it over to you guys. The pressure is on. What do you want to know about this work? What is? Oh,
Good God.
one,
I have
two.
a bunch of
Yeah.
questions.
Oh no.
Well, I really loved when you talked about the rice paper, like as soon as it wasn't precious, it lost its preciousness, and that's what allowed you to paint on it.
Yes.
Like, I love that, I understand that feeling, you know, like, how can you remember, how did that happen?
Well, it's really, I think it just came from moving, and I hoard this paper, and
From
to
moving,
see,
right,
yeah,
right.
to see how much I've saved over. I used to live in Toronto, and they have the Japanese paper place there, and I collected it there. I've collected it, and I was in Korea, collected it there. Not in Japan because it's so expensive, but you know, California, LA has a great Japanese. So anyway, I have tons of this stuff, and what am I going to do with it? And that's when
When you move, you have to think like that, I
Yeah.
understand that.
yeah, right, you too.
I have just a couple little ones, and it's synthetic gold leaf, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
And how did you have the foresight to make those videos of you making the work? Did Katie tell you to do that? Or?
No, that
was
was
really
prompted.
smart.
that was very lucky too. I just listened to people say. I really listen, everybody. If you still tell me something, I hear what you say. And somebody suggested to me, I'm going to try to remember who it is, said, you need to take a picture of those panels. And I said, why? Why would I take a picture of those panels? Nobody's going to see it. And but I did. And there, if you notice, the ones that are a vertical justification are pre this idea that I got. And then I had another a studio mate across the hall said, "Do you want to borrow my tripod to take films?" And I said, "Why? I have a tripod." And I went, "Oh, I should be filming this." And he said, "Yeah, people want to know." So it was I just got lucky, and I'm so grateful
That was brilliant.
that I did. Yeah.
That was brilliant getting to watch you work on it.
Yeah, good.
My last thing is, what did you call it? Hand knitting? What did you call it?
Arm knitting.
Arm knitting.
Yeah, arm
Did you
knitting.
make that up?
No.
It looked like arm crochet.
Arm
Yes.
crochet.
Yeah.
Arm
Yeah.
crochet.
It wasn't. You know, I'm not.
Okay.
How did you come up with that?
It's a thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not on that scale.
Arm knitting.
Yeah, not on. I don't think on that
Daisy chain.
scale.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's, and I'm not, some people, actually, I'm not that good at it, but some people actually make really amazing things out of
I think you're pretty
doing,
good at
they
it.
do like finger knitting and, yeah.
Crochet all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, and it is so nice to see the practice. You know, we can see this, right? But then actually seeing the labor that went into making this
Yeah.
piece is really special. I'm very glad you took those videos.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I
yes.
think we all are.
Yeah, good, that was a good.
We all know your secrets now.
Oh
Yeah.
man, uh-oh.
Go for it, everybody.
Watch out. Everyone's gonna start
Yeah,
arm knitting.
yeah, that's okay. It's not just belong to me.
Yeah. And then we had a question over here
Yeah,
too.
and it kind of dovetails into this, Marianne. It dawned on me with those videos as I was watching and sort of making correlations to your work, the sort of notion of multiples, repetitive motion, meditative kind of action, and sort of the idea of female labor. And I wonder if you could talk about that a little bit, if that is something that is prominent or if it's just kind of there.
Wow, female labor, I don't know. I mean, I think, you know, the sewing and the fabric is in my DNA, even though I did not know those grandparents. But yeah, I've always been drawn to, you know, working with fabric and felt from when I was a little girl. And I don't know that I associate it with women's work, but obviously it is. I don't consider myself a feminist, but yeah, I just do it. And I was the eldest of 5 kids, and I was always the one that had to wrap the present, you know, cut the hair, you know, braid the hair, you know, decorate the Christmas tree, all that stuff. Make the cookies, ice the cake.
All very
Yeah.
like
But do the dishes, which I
very-
hated.
Oh, no.
you know, so I'm not crazy about a lot of the women's work stuff.
Well, is it? I'm so.
It's okay, Marianne?
Yes, please. I'll write my thing
So
down.
this is a selfish question. I'm a self-portrait artist, and I want to see bodies in this installation. So I just offer that when you take it back to your studio.
Mhm.
But that's another direction that it could go, especially the theme, heaven and earth. I mean, my body wants to be in there.
But where? Do you want to be in the heavens or?
No, I'm
the earth.
standing
In the Virga,
Yeah.
standing between
Uh,
heaven and earth.
I have had a lot of people have said they want to be inside of it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's, you know,
it's very.
I have a friend back there who's been inside of it.
Tell us more.
She just, at one point, the whole thing fell down in my studio, and it took several days, and my friend Jeanette came and helped me unravel the pieces that
Yeah.
got very tangled, so, yeah. So far, we haven't figured out a way to walk inside of it without getting tangled up in it.
It has been very tempting visiting your studio to like lay down.
Lay underneath it.
Lay
yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
It just looks like it'd be
Well,
so
I'm really hoping for other iterations of this. I really would love to see the piece grow and
public piece.
yeah, be more in a space where people can enjoy it, not behind glass.
Yeah. There's a question all the way in the back.
This is for you, Katie.
Oh!
This talk is being filmed,
Yes.
and will it be available to us through the website at the museum?
It will not. It will be available by appointment at the archive eventually. It is more a document for our archives and the history of this institution. But
Will Marianne have a copy?
My friend
Marianne,
Kayline,
yeah.
my friend Kayline is videoing right now, so
Everyone
maybe
clap.
it'll be on. So hopefully I'll be able to get it up on YouTube
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah, right. I'll let you know.
Oh, that'd be good.
yeah. And then I guess
Another.
oh,
yeah.
another yes.
So I love the idea that you use vintage fabric, and because like when I think about that, I think about all the people that down the line that may have handled that at some point, and the energy that comes into that
Yeah.
work. Can you speak a little bit of how that affects you, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's what draws me to it. I have two feelings about this. I have a hard time going in secondhand stores because there's so much, I feel energy. So I feel a lot of energy in secondhand fabrics. So you wouldn't find me, taking a dress that belonged to somebody else and cutting it up and using it. So that I'm really sensitive to that. But I don't know why, a data masher or, vintage sequins or ribbons or things like that, I love.
Notions.
Notions.
Notions. Yeah. Creating a concept with a bunch of notions.
Notions. So I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there
Yeah.
we go. I have to write that down.
Yeah.
Still, yeah, I love the way the connections are made to the next thing, to the next thing. Everything's connected. Julia.
Thank you so much, Marianne. I wonder if you would be willing to talk more about how your relationship to your own love and loss and grief transformed during the process of making it.
Wow.
That's a good
Jeez.
question.
Julia and I talked right after Roy passed away, and I've never felt grief like that before. And his basically when he found out he was sick, and during his last year, he said to me he wanted me to keep working. That was the most important thing. And so this piece, he knew. I think he knew about it. I mean, we talked about the pink cloud. He was there through that whole, like my granddaughter, and he loved clouds, and he would take pictures of clouds and of pink clouds as well. And I think
I mean, this is all that I have right now, so it's really helped me in just seeing the metaphor in the materials that I choose. And I don't choose these pieces really consciously, the materials, but I see the delicate nature, the fragile looking nature of the work, but still it still has resilience. The balloon has resilience. The glass has resilience. Although we know that the porcelain does break.
Balloons pop.
And balloons pop. And yeah, so I've enjoyed digging into the metaphor of the pieces, and yeah, it's really helped me work through it. And I have I really want to live, and I really want to make the most of my life. So that, I took such good care of Roy during that time. I'm doing that for myself right now. So thanks, Julia.
Do we have any more questions?
I just want to thank. I have so many friends in the audience that have seen me go from the beginning of this to what it is now, and I just want to thank everybody. I have never had so much support like this in my life. So thank you all. You know who you are, and I really appreciate it.
Well, last question then of the evening. What's next? What are you working on now?
I'm working.
Also, are you taking a breather? Because that's fine too.
I mean, my house, geez, so I've been working lots on this, and my house is falling apart. But no, I'm working on PR. I really would like to see this thing grow, and I'm having the courage to approach other, institutions, and I have other ideas for the pink cloud. I have other iterations of, where it's gonna, where the ending point of it is. So I'm still working on that, and
where is the ending point?
I don't know.
What's the pie in the sky?
Well, I love to see it, like I said, in a museum setting, or or in a public space that's larger. Yeah. So, any ideas?
Any ideas?
I have seen installations like that in places like Botanic Gardens. Or places like London where they do the flower show and things like that. I mean, I don't know if that's where those kinds of things have happened, but I believe that they have. I mean, that's one really great open space, and they do show people walking through the space, so it's big.
Well, it when I say what I'd like to see it, I also would like it to be funded.
Oh, well.
Get out your checkbooks.
It's not a charity event.
It's not. Technically, I can say get out your checkbooks anyways. So. Sorry, Marissa.
Maybe a lobby of someplace, there's like these beautiful big spaces in hotels or office buildings.
It's just, it's just a lot of research, and,
Find in the right place.
So I'm sort of like, if somebody wants to, sponsor it and put it somewhere, I'd love to hear,
If you know someone.
And if you know someone, and then also I'm doing my own outreach too, so.
You've been hitting the ground hard.
I've been hitting the ground hard, pretty much everything that's, I've worked really hard to make
and it
connections.
shows.
Yeah, thanks.
It shows, in the all of the people who are here today, and the work, and in all the attention that it's gotten. Yeah. I mean, it's stellar.
Thank
truly.
you. Yeah.
Well, I think that's the end of our program. Thank you all for being here.